Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joshua Suliruka here, your host of the Impact Podcast Show. And I want to say two things before I start and introduce our next special guest on the Impact Podcast Show. Firstly, I wanted to say thank you. I want to say thank you to those out there that are listening, to this podcast episode either through Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But I also do want to say thank you to those out there that are watching this video on our YouTube channel. Now, if you guys are watching this on our YouTube channel, make sure that you guys like this video if you guys are getting any value. But we also want to get you guys to comment. If you guys got any questions or any thoughts, please place it down in a comment below. But most importantly, make sure that you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on that bell button for the latest updates into our next video. And so that's the first thing that I would like to mention. And the second thing I would like to do is I'd like to state our mission, and our mission is simple. Our mission is to focus on impacting the one. And so if you're being impacted by this podcast, I encourage you all to share this to someone else that can benefit from this. Because remember, it only takes one person to change someone's life, and that could possibly be you, and that would be cool. And so guys, knowing that is all done, the intro is sorted. I think that was probably the quickest one I've done. It's starting to become natural. But guys, I'm so honored and grateful to have one of the brothers on the other side. Now, I just want to share to you guys, just a quick story on how we met. So we're actually a part of a similar, online business venture or like mastermind group called Life by Design. And we're pretty much on the same page. And that's how I actually met the special guest that's on the other side. And, I just honestly, guys, all I can say is that I do believe that he has a great story and that he's going to be sharing. But most importantly, I just love this guy's heart. I was at the gym and I was just, pumping some weight, and I thought about this guy and I'm like, man, I need to get this guy on. And it's not just because, he's all good looking and scucks, but it's also the fact that he has massive, massive value that is, just hidden. It's just hidden inside, and it's only starting to come up into fruition, as of this moment. And so, guys, with that being said, we're going to get to know more about this man over here and just about his story and about what he's doing, in the coming future, and especially heading into 2021. And so, guys, I'd love you all to please welcome to the Impact Podcast Show, Mr. Jerry Fanene. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joshie, for having us on. Man, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited to run this up with you and have this conversation that we've, plenty of conversations we've had throughout the past. Have this recorded and people to see in depth what we talk about. But yeah, man, I'm truly honored. And just to pay homage back to you, man, when you knocked on that door, bro, I opened, and it's always open for you, man. It's anytime for you. And part of the reason why everything's coming into fruition now it's because of people like you, laying the platform down as well. And, age is definitely just a number when it comes to those sort of things, because, you are quite younger than me, and, bro, definitely empowering and inspired myself to do these things. So, yeah, bro, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, all good, bro. And also, man, I just want to say thank you for, taking out your time. I know that your time is just as valuable as mine. I do believe in that. And we both are on the same page when it comes to the time, because time is money, right?
That's it, bro. That's it.
That's it. But yeah, man, but I guess, bro, knowing now that we're in this, where we're doing this live podcast now, I guess the first question I got for you, man, is, bro, we have an impact community that is tuning in, and I know that you're one of the few. You're one of the few that are a part of it too. But there's probably some other people out there that don't really know much about you. So is there any chance that you can just share about a bit about who you are?
Yeah. So Jerry Fanene, Samoan, 29 years old, born in New Zealand, moved to Australia. When the permanent residence before all of that stuff was changed, so we're one of the fortunate ones. Pretty much adopted Aussie. Man, I'm the oldest of now. I lost count. I lost count of how many there are. I think 7. I think I'm the oldest of 7.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, I've just been grown up pretty much in the inner west of Sydney. Currently living out in the greater west of Sydney. So that's definitely another topic of discussion as well. But yeah, for me, a little bit about me, man. I just, for so long I've been someone that had been content with being good. I was content with just being comfortably good. and then only just, only very recently I've just realized that, greatness has been instilled inside me and everyone else. And so, being content with just being good was just in justice to that greatness that had been instilled in us. And so, yeah, looking to make an impact into many lives, many more lives, through various platforms, various different platforms. And yeah, man, you know, devout, I don't even know if that's the word, devout Christian or, Jesus for me is, yeah, man, he's everything. He's the one that's taught me everything and has brought me up from when I had nothing, and so it's kind of, he's changed my life around to the point where I know that I shouldn't be here right now, talking to you, but through his grace and love, I'm here. And man, there's so much more in store for me. And yeah, man, I'm just excited for the future. Like that's pretty much myself in a nutshell. But yeah, man, also sorry, I cannot forget the most important things. I am, happily married. My wife and I have been together for about 9 years, going on to 9 years, been married for 4 years. And I'm a father of a very young, beautiful, but very, very aggressively growing. She's growing very aggressively too quick, little daughter. And so, yeah, my life has changed so much in the last few years. But man, it's changed for the better. And so now my why is a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And yeah, they're my everything, man. Like my daughter, my wife, and then yes, also my siblings, my parents, all that. So yeah, bro, that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, sweet, man, bro. First of all, bro, thank you for just sharing and giving us a just a bit of brief introduction into who you are. Because I believe that's so important. I think a lot of people just brush off and be like, oh no, let's just know his story, let's just know what he does. It's like no, you need to focus on who he is, man. And so, bro, appreciate it, man. But let's get straight into it, bro. Let's get straight into the podcast. I do have a few questions just based on on like what you're sharing in terms of you introducing yourself. So you mentioned that you're the eldest and you're one of 7, right? Yeah. So, bro, how was it growing up? Like, how was your upbringing like?
Oh man, so times are different now, man, and times were different back then to when, like, being the eldest, I had to grow up very quick, man. And so, but what I was able to do that in society back then because it was like, it was normal for a 8 or 9 year old to be walking the streets doing the grocery shopping for the family and then walking home. Now, if you see an 8-year-old on the street by themselves, bro, you're like, they look like they're neglected or they've run away or something like that. And so, man, the things that I thought were normal back then, because mind you, I was 8, my sister was 5, Phil wasn't even born, and one of my other brothers, and then one of my other brothers, Michael, he was about 2 years old. And so when my parents were at work, sometimes they're both in the same shift, I'd have to stay home, look after the kids. I'm only 8 years old. Like, what am I supposed to do? But it was so normal, and the best thing about that is that it allowed me to grow up a bit quicker, and mature a little bit quicker. Bro, but being the eldest as well, man, you cop everything, you cop everything, and you're like I mean, it's a sad thing, but like, you're like the guinea pig when it comes to everything, man. And so I'm grateful for it, man, because it's just made me who I am. But it also was very, very tough times, bro. Being the eldest as well, like you see a lot that the other children don't see. You've seen your parents really struggle. You've seen the fights. You've seen you've seen the rock bottom. You felt rock bottom more than your siblings would because they fall on you, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And so they don't get to. You don't allow them to really feel it. And so another thing, and I spoke with a few of the boys about this not so long ago, is that as the eldest, you're always told to be strong for the young ones. Be strong. And so my mom passed away 2010, 10 years ago, and I was only 18 at the time, 18 18, 19 at the time. And, you know, for me, everyone was straight away just telling me, you know, be strong because you're the eldest. And be strong for me was just like, you're not allowed to cry. Like, you can't show any emotion. And so it was like, I had to be, and it's funny because I had already known how to do that, because I didn't, like, my siblings looked up to me as like, you know, almost like someone that was like nearly invincible, you know, or they kind of saw me as just this tough person, but didn't know that, man, it just, things were eating, like, you know, it was just eating me from the inside, bro. And so for me, it was like, you know, that little man up thing, but man, it was so hard, bro. Like, it was very hard being the eldest, because, you know, you're having to deal with all of that. And also, like, you know, people telling you to just suck it up, you know, because you're the eldest. And yeah, it was very tough. It is very tough. And I know that the middle child and also the youngest, they also have their experiences as well. But being the eldest, man, like, you really, people don't really understand like what the eldest sees. And man, I've seen some things that really would break a lot of people. And I've had to hold that in. I've had to bottle that up for so long. And only very recently, in the last few years, have I really found some freedom from those things that that some people would really be affected by and impacted by. But, you know, yeah, just being the eldest, but also at the same time, man, I love it because it's just like, now it's allowed me to be, or it allowed me to be a leader before I even recognized myself as a leader. And so a lot of people, like, you know, I became a leader within the ministry, a leader within business, a leader, you know, at work or whatever it was. And a lot of people would see, like, okay, how did this guy learn these leadership traits? There was no book that taught me that. There was no speaker. There was no certain audio that I had to learn from, bro. I learned, and I bear the scars from learning firsthand experience from life, right? And so, yeah, bro, like, it's everything, man. Like, it's everything all in one. Being the eldest child, it was hard, but man, it was, it really molded me into the person that I am today. And so I'm super grateful for it. And even now, you know, I love being the eldest as well, because now it's like, you know, it's funny because when I was the eldest, bro, I used to do majority of the chores. You know, I'm the oldest, you know, everything was put on me. And then, you know, I did it for, like, let's say my siblings, like me and Bill, like, we're about 9 years apart. And so he only started doing chores about like 11 or 12, like when he was like 11 or 12. So for those 12 years, and before that, you know, I've been doing those chores. All of a sudden, you know, they start doing some chores and they start doing a little bit more work, and they're like, you haven't done anything, you don't do anything. And it's like, oh my gosh, here we go, you know. And I hate to be that guy that says, man, you know, when you were young, I used to change your nappies.
No.
But yeah, bro, it's like that. Yeah, and it's like that, bro. It's like, it's the best of both worlds. But I love being the oldest now, because I get to see my siblings grow, and I get to kind of guide them and lead them in a way that I know that, you know, they don't have to go through the same experiences that I had to go through. And so, yeah, bro, it's come full circle for me, bro. So, yeah, that's it, man. That's pretty much when it comes to being the oldest, bro.
Yeah. Nah, sweet, bro, man. I'm just grateful, bro, that you're on here, man, because funny enough, like, my previous podcast with Brendan, he's the eldest too. And I had the same conversation. I was like, man, how is it for you? And I can see a common thread. There's a common thread. The first thing is, like, bro, you guys are the guinea pigs. Like, you guys are the guinea pigs, man. You guys are the tester. Like, you become the test to see whether or not they're going to have another one.
Well, my dad said experiment once, you know, and I was like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, bro, nah, man, like, it's a real thing, you know, even that, like, my partner, she's the eldest in her family too, you know, so I've learned through, not even my brother, like, because I'm the second eldest, my brother's older than me, and, like, there was moments, bro, where, like, me and him would clash, right? We would clash where I'd be like, you know, I'm acting as if I'm the eldest, and then he's like, no, I'm the eldest. And then, like, I started to learn as I started to grow up, bro, that, like, no, just leave it. Like, don't worry about it, bro. Like, you're just allowing your ego, you're allowing your pride to take over you. But I've seen it. Like, I've seen it in my brother. Like, he's gone through so much. And I think I have so much honor for him now than what I did like probably 10 years ago because of like me understanding his, as to the why behind the what, in terms of like the why as to why, he's like why he feels stressed out or why he feels like there's a lot of pressure on him because like, it's like the eldest syndrome or something like
that. It's real, man. It's real.
Legit, bro. It's real, man. It's real. And so, bro, and also I was just like listening to, to what you were saying and you were talking about how like it was the experience. It was the first-hand experience of you, growing up. Even at the age of 8, bro, looking after, bro, I was doing the same thing too. We're doing the same thing too back in the days. We're only like 8 or 9 years old and we're at home by ourselves. We could cook food and stuff like that. For the kids, and then you look at some other kids now, it's like, bro, they can't even cook anything.
Right, 18 even.
Legit, man. Yeah. Oh yeah, true, 18 too. Oh, bro, but yeah, man. Nah, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you on sharing a bit on just a bit about your upbringing, because people don't realize, man, that your upbringing, like the things that you struggle with now, have all been it all came from like things that you're doing when you were younger. It comes from your childhood stages. So I've been like as being part of the 5am club, being shout out to the 5am club out there.
Yo, you guys 5am club.
Right, like even that, being behind the 5am club, like I've heard and spoken to a few people that have been struggling, and the first thing I asked them is like, bro, how's your childhood? Like, what did you do when you were young? Like, did you get taught these certain things? Because those are usually the things, I guess, the gap fillers that you need to be filling first before going into the next level. And bro, it's so mad to see that for someone like yourself being the eldest and you now jumping into leadership, it's like it's not as difficult for you to step into leadership because you're already carrying it when you're younger.
100%, bro. 100%, and I feel like that's a thing, man. It's a common thing that I'm starting to see now. Like, there's a lot of people that are being, and this is no spite or hate towards anyone, but like, there's a lot more people that are stepping up and becoming leaders. Reading about how to become a leader, but man, it's just different when you just know, like, and I try and make it like, I try not to sound like, I try to say this humbly and not sound too arrogant, but you just know when you were called to be a leader, man. And it's like, bro, the thing is, the reason why I know I was called to be a leader is because, bro, I had to go through the wilderness to become one, right? I had to experience things that a lot of people wouldn't make it out of, bro, in order for me to become the leader that I needed to be. Like, I've seen, like, from a young age, I'd already seen, and I knew that there was something so great that's on my life. I remember, sharing with people like, man, there's something great on my life, right? There's a great calling. And I've had people, and even my wife, and say, yeah, I know. And then I'll be like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, I don't think you guys can fathom like how great this is. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm the chosen one, but I just know that, if God is going to do something, he's going to do something, right? And so to me, it's like there's something great in my life. And so if I know that the destination is great, bro, the journey to get there is going to be crazy, right? And so it's not going to always be a nice, like, stroll down paradise. It's not going to be that kind of road, but bro, it's going to be wilderness. It's going to be like the jungle. It's just that sort of journey. And so for me, it's like, I know now, like when I step into anything, that no one can shake up the leader that I've become, because this is not something that is easily taught or someone can just read about and then follow these steps and you can become this leader. It's like, and it doesn't make me a greater leader than someone, but it makes me the greatest leader that I can be. It's like the leader that Jerry Fanene needs to be is this, and no one, like, and to me, it's like I can't copy anyone else's style of leadership or whatever, because what I've learned is because of what I've gone through.
Yeah.
And also, I also learn from other people's experiences as well. But man, like, life has taught me a lot. And yeah, just going down that pathway, man, of like, it's like you put your hand up for it. Like, it's like, do you want to go there? Like, do you want to get to that place? You're like, yeah, I want to come. It's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah. And then it starts happening. It's like, bro, it's too late to turn around and go back, man. And so, bro, I had to go through it, man. A lot of people say, you got to go through hell to get to heaven. And it's just like, bro, I kind of get that. And it's almost, I feel like that's almost the same thing for me. Like, I had to go through, and it was easier for me to stop, but I wouldn't be the leader or the person that I am today if that was the case, bro. So yeah, bro.
Yeah, man, bro, it hits different, bro. It hits different when you do it based on experience. Like a good example would be, like those that go to college, right, or those that go to, university, and they do like a 3 or 4 year degree, and then come out, and then you have a person that hasn't even done like any studying or any university, but had the experience, and it's like, oh, who's gonna make it in the end? It's like in terms of the practical side of it, and it's like the person that was the more experienced, because they've got more experience under their belt, and they didn't have a cap in terms of their I guess learning abilities. But although that's the case, like they both weigh out the same.
Yeah. 100%, bro. I believe that too, because but it's funny because like prior to the thing that I'm doing now, within business, what the field I was working in was, disability support. And so I learned that first. I saw that as a perfect example where I seen people that went to study and had the qualification. And then I seen people who came straight out of the factory, straight out of, form work, all the, like whatever, all types of work into a foreign field just to gain some experience. And bro, like the people that just didn't have the qualifications were the most qualified and equipped for that job, because they understood how it was to just treat a person, how to just be a person, and especially in something like that, disability support, right? Those sort of things is like that like when people start, when we focus on like mental disabilities, they don't go by the books, bro. You know what I mean? You have one day where that kid, he doesn't want to go by the books. And then you're just like, oh, I didn't study that. That wasn't in chapter 1. There's none of that. And so, and so it's all it really takes is just being, understanding and being that type of person that, can be of support. That's what it is, And so, yeah, bro, that's an example for me when it comes to things that life teaches you and things that you could just get from, just from studying, studying, like you can study up, and I'm not in no way saying that, don't study that, because by all means, man, educate ourselves. We need that, we need to educate ourselves on that. But for me, it's kind of like, so an example of use recently for me, I've done all the practical work. I'm now going to the theory, and now I'm like, but usually in school, it's like we do theory first and then we go do practical. To me, like I've gone through practical, I've done all the prac. Now it's time to do theory. And as I'm doing the theory, I'm like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. Like I've done that, I've experienced that. And so, it's just the other way around. And it goes hand in hand, bro. So it's not one way is better than the other. It goes hand in hand for me. So yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. And just as you were talking about that, it made me think about, this word called, self-education, and how important that is. Like say for example, let's just utilize this, your example of, being a disability worker. It's like, man, you can go in the field with experience, right? But then the question is, right, you can be studying about, how to work with, people with disability, and certain types of, things you got to do, like paperwork or case reports and stuff like that. But the question is, okay, like knowing that you're doing that, that type of education, what about you? What about the education on yourself? Yeah. And I think that's something that I believe that's something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, 100%, man. Like, bro, big on that, because it just shows like the level, and it also keeps you in. It kind of gives you a track record or progress report on your growth. You know what I mean? And so we always need to be self-educating ourselves. And it's like when we self-educate, we self-medicate. It's like we're continuously bettering ourselves. right? And so it's one thing that I realized with when it comes to something like change is that it's a process. Like people say that, you can't change overnight, but you can make a decision to change on the spot, And so once you make that decision, the process begins. And so every time you're self-educating yourself, the process keeps you're fueling that process. And self-educating yourself, man, and self-education, bro, it's so important, man, because it's like it also goes to show that that there's more for you to understand. There's
Yeah.
more for you to know. I feel like we've grown up, and it's like we. I don't know if it's a thing, especially within our culture, where it's like, I know, yeah, I know everything. Then it's like, yeah, you're such a boss, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like,
You don't know
bro,
anything.
it's like saying, bro, it's like, yeah, you don't know anything, bro. It's like, bro, it's like back then, it's like, and this is like a poor example, but it's like when you go tell your mates, like, oh, bro, have you heard that song? It's like, yeah, no, I know. Yeah. I heard that. Yeah, that's old, bro. That's an old song. But it's like, bro, it's just come out and just like, bro, it's all right to say you don't know, man. Like, it's all good. We live in a society of if you know, you know. But I'm big on if you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know, that's just telling you, all right, how do you find out? Like, how do you get yourself to know? Self-educate. Self-educate. Why do I say that so bad? Self-educate, right? And so that's big for me, man. Because I feel like, man, when I slip away from that a little bit, bro, you feel it, bro. You feel it, and it's almost kind of like keeping yourself. It's like when you're on like a nice, you're eating good, and then you step away from that, or you're training, and then you have a few days off, and then you feel it. You definitely feel it because bro, you're going at a certain pace at a certain level, and then it's stagnant, bro. It's like well, you understand this. It's a consolidation period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, legit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so
Yeah, man, bro. Spot on, bro. Spot on when it comes to self-education, and like something that's been in my heart lately is, because obviously I work as a wellbeing officer, so I work in a primary school, and so I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, what's one thing that people outside of school are doing better than the people that are in school, like as in teachers, right? And I'm like, bro, like self-education is probably the one thing that people outside of school are doing far more better and that people are getting driven towards, right? Why? Because, bro, you think about it, what is the one thing that you can talk about forever? Is yourself. Like, it's just true, right? Like, you can talk about yourself for the rest of your life, man, and you wouldn't get sick of it. And so if you think about it, all right, when it comes to education, like, what would be one of the best things to learn about is yourself. I've just recently learned that, through, tons of people asking me questions on like how to wake up early. And I'm like, bro, it's all about focusing on you, man. Like, it's all about you, bro. It's you against you.
100%, bro. Totally agree with that, bro. Because, and another thing is like, we're big on this, I don't know, we've spoken about this throughout this year, man, and just focusing on yourself, man. Because, bro, I think as a culture as well, we're very competitive people, bro.
Oh yeah, bro.
Very, very competitive people, and we're always looking at someone to compete with. But I'm like, bro, that's like the thing is, when you enter a competition with someone else, there's no guarantee of you winning, right? That you could possibly lose. And so one thing that we've shared before is the one competition that you're guaranteed to win 100% of the time is being yourself. No one else can beat you at being yourself.
100%.
And I think if we just focus on that, yeah, bro. If you're that competitive, bro, jump into the 100% guaranteed competition, bro. No one has this kind of record. Not the All Blacks, not the Maroons, no one. The Lakers, no one has that kind of record of 100%, man. And so it's like no one can beat you at being you. And so the thing is, though, being yourself, and knowing yourself is different as well. Because, bro, if you're someone that's like, see, the one thing I hate is someone that says same old. I hate when the one thing.
How are you? Oh, yeah, same old.
Yeah, same old. What are we up to now? Same old. And I'm just like, bro, same old just means you haven't changed and you're just getting old, And so it's one thing that I try to wipe out from our guys, like wipe out of their vocab is same old. And so if you're constantly changing, you're rediscovering something new about yourself. And I find this, bro, I find this to be very important, especially when it comes to relationships as well. Because when you're growing as a person, and you're now in a partnership or a relationship with someone else, and they're growing as a person, you're always falling in love with a newer version of that person. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, I was talking to my wife about this the other day, where, some people say, oh, if you say I love you too early, it's not going to work out months later. And what I've come to realize is that it's because they say I love you and they fall in love with that person at that moment. Months later, they've changed, but they're still in love with that person back then. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you have to understand that you have to constantly keep falling in love with a new version of that person. And so the only way you do that is if that person allows you to show them who you are, but they won't show you who you are if they don't know who they are, right? And so self-education and knowing who you are, big things for me, man. Self-education, identity, all that stuff, bro. Like, I feel, like getting to know yourself a lot more on a deeper level like that is very, very important, bro. Because you discover so many different things and new things, and man, like, it no longer becomes. It's like when you focus on yourself, it kind of filters everything that you could possibly do. And it's like, you have the potential, right? You can't see my hands right now, but you have the potential to do that. But as you self-educate and you realize yourself, you realize that your purpose is that, right? So, very important, bro. Very, very important self-education, man. Like, I feel your heart with that, bro. 100%.
Yeah. And like, man, like, the reason why I wanted to mention it was because, that's one thing I'm going to be putting into the podcast, the Finding Freedom podcast. Like, I just launched it, today, as of this, day of the recording. And I just started to ponder over it, like, this morning, bro, when I was, getting my workout done. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, man, I'm probably going to have kids that are going to be listening to this more than the actual teacher, bro. And it's so upsetting. Like, for me, it's more upsetting, but it's like, bro, someone has to do it. Someone has to put their hand up and like, I guess not, I wouldn't say it's just kids, but I'm just like, bro, people in general, man, I believe there's like adults that are 40, 50-year-old, like 50-year-olds that need to go back and be like, bro, I didn't even know who I was this whole time. Like, bro, imagine this, man, living to the age of 60, right? And then getting to a point in your life where you're like in your deathbed and like pondering over life. And you realize, bro, out of this whole 60 years, I still don't know who I am. Bro, that's scary, man. That's scary.
Bro, 100%, bro. That's a scary thought, bro. Like,
oh man.
And the thing is, man, you hear like people say like, just I don't want to lose myself, and it's like you can't lose what you don't know. You can't lose what you don't have, or you're who you don't know. It's like, bro, that scared me, bro, and that pushed me a lot this year, especially. It's like, bro, I had to realize, man, like who I was as a person, and where I wanted to get to. And then that's when I realized the direction I needed to go. And so what I'm big on now is so those three things is position, destination, and then direction. And so if you don't know who you are, you don't know where you are, you won't know where you're going, you will never know how to get there, right? And so, bro, it's big it's big, man. Like, to me, it's like, and it's what separates people. It's what kind of dictates our decisions, right? The decisions that we make in life. Because it's like, when you know who you are, and like we said before, when you know whose you are, bro, the reason why you do things and the weight behind what you do is different, bro. And so when you don't know, this is the thing. If you don't know your position and you don't acknowledge who you are and you don't embrace who you are, you'll follow any direction. You'll follow anyone and you go down any path. And the thing is, the dangerous thing about that is you could get further away from where you need to get to.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so that's, to me, it's one thing that I feel is one of the major problems within our society. Like, bro, to get a little bit deeper with that, it's like within our culture, especially, and within our community, we hear things about that are tied with mental health, like suicide, depression, the things that people see as the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking to one of my brothers this morning, I was just like, that's not the problem. That's people's solution to the problem. That's the result of the problem. The problem comes down to knowing who you are, identity, bro. Because anyone that really knows who they are and their purpose in life won't do that. Bro, don't get me wrong, they will definitely feel that. There's times where not as much as I know myself, there are definitely times when that darkness lurks over you and you question everything. But it very quickly goes away because no. Just because Jesus is in your life, and Mazza said this to me yesterday, just because Jesus is in your life doesn't mean the devil's still not lurking, bro. He's still, if anything, he works overtime on those people,
Yeah.
And so it's like it doesn't make it easier, but it doesn't take the problem away, but it makes the way you deal with it a lot better, bro. So like depression will always be knocking at your door. Suicide will always be knocking at your door. Anger, like whatever, all these other things that are results of these problems always be knocking at your door.
Yo.
But when you know who you are, that's a dangerous thing, bro. That's a dangerous weapon to have. Like these giants, as we call it, can keep coming to you, but you keep going to those giants, and bro, like the David and Goliath analogy, like to use all the time, bro. Like you have all the reason to back down, but because you know who you are, whose you are, man, none of that will faze you. You don't see a giant. All you see is someone that's trying to come against you. And it's like, and yeah, I spoke about this on one of the reels a few weeks ago.
Yep.
How in the word it says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Bro, the weapon never said that the weapon was not going to hurt. It didn't say that you weren't going to feel it. It just said it wasn't going to prosper. It wasn't going to destroy you. And so when you know who you are and you know where you need to stand, and you start to find your identity, bro. Like you may feel the attack, but it hits that helmet and it bounces off, bro. Like, yeah, bro. It's very important. It's something that I'd really love to, especially next year, to start to push, bro. Because I'm kind of sick of seeing our guys lost, and people are focusing on preventing the fruit from growing. But it's like the roots, That's not the roots. So yeah, bro. That's big on my heart, bro. Like that sort of thing. So yeah, I didn't even know how we even got to that. Did you even ask a question about that? Or
just having a chat, bro. It's all good, bro. But it's funny, man. Like I'm just gonna say something quickly, bro. Just add on to what you're talking about the Giants, and then what we'll do is we'll get straight into your story, bro. We do have a bit of time, so yeah, we're all good, bro. We're on track, man. We're on track, so it's all right.
Okay.
All right, so when you're talking about giants, right, and about the typical cliche, David and Goliath, bro, it actually reminded me of something that happened to me, man. Like there was a little incident happened, but I'll just share the one thing that I learned. One thing I learned, bro, was at the end of the day, man. Although a lot of us are focusing on the giants, the one thing we're not focusing on is the little foxes, like in our lives. They're like while we're looking at the big picture of reality. So let's say, for example, your goal is to gain weight. For those out there that are skinny, but let's say, for example, you're massive, you're fat, and you're wanting to trim down, and obviously that's the big picture, yeah. That's the big thing. You can see right through. When you look at a mirror, bro, you can literally see it, and we always tend to focus on the giants, right? But the one thing we tend to forget is the little foxes that are coming in, the things that are subtle, the things that we don't even know is lurking around. And bro, there was an incident that happened, this year that bro, out of nowhere, bro, I just lost it. And I was like to myself, why did I lose it? And it was because of the little foxes. There was little things that were happening. And it was little things, bro, tiny things, but they were compounding. Do you know what I mean? It just ended up compounding, and then out of nowhere, bro, I just lost it. I'm like, wait, why did I do that? Isn't it that, if there's a big issue, that's where I lash out. No, that's not the case. Like it actually goes both ways. Like yeah, like it depends on how you react. But the one thing I learned, bro, is the little foxes, man. You gotta watch out for those little foxes, bro, because they are the ones that are probably gonna kill you the most.
100%, bro. 100%. Yeah, it's the little things that we kind of push to the side, bro. Like, and yeah, you're so right, bro. There's been little things that, and it's funny because it's like when that it'll be little by little by little, and it starts to fill up, and then it takes that one thing, and then you're like, what the heck? And then you realize, bro, there's so much more. There's so much more that I was brushing to the side.
Yeah.
And that's like, bro, it's like, yeah, I definitely understand that as well, man. It's something that you got to be very aware of, like those little things. You can never, bro. There's a good way of doing it too. Be faithful in the small things. And then you'll be blessed with the bigger things. And it's also, both, like, don't neglect the small things because it could cause a bigger thing, right? And it's like,
bro.
Yeah, bro. It's like I look at it like, a rubbish bin doesn't get full from just one whole dump of rubbish. It's little bits of rubbish that goes into it first. I mean, if it doesn't get too big, it's just gonna stink up the place. It's gonna cause something in the place. And so, yeah, bro, I understand that those little things. Yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, a lot of people just focus on the giants, and it's like, yeah, there's the little things as well. And the same way with the giants. The giant was focused on the army, focused on all these massive soldiers, all these big soldiers, and he wasn't focused on the little boy, with the little stones.
Mm-hmm. Guys, it makes you think, man. This actually really gets you thinking, man.
Yeah, it gets you thinking, man. It's the little things. From little things, big things grow. That's
100%, bro.
Yeah,
100%. Oh man, but hey, bro, man, that was actually a mad chat, bro. That was a mad chat. This is pretty much it, guys. This is what we do in the outside. This is literally how we chat. Like, we're not talking about, like, what I love, bro. The one thing that, like, that I love about us, bro, we're actually talking about things that bring life. Like, we're always talking about things that bring life, man. And I guess at this stage, bro, of the podcast, I want to know more about your life, man. I want to know, more about your story, bro. And so, in this kind of like, next segment of the podcast, one thing I believe in is, before the glory, there's always a story. Before your glory days, there's always, a story that's behind it. And so, bro, we're just gonna jump on a little journey into your story, bro, and just to hear, like, what were the struggles that you've gone through, and and pretty much what made you, get out of it. And so, bro, my question to you, man, is like, bro, we're actually gonna get deep here, brother. We're gonna get deep here, but hey, we know the go when it comes to transparency.
Got my shovel ready, bro.
But yeah, bro, I guess the question I want to ask you, man, is like, knowing that, like, you're the eldest of 7, you're happily married, like, you have a kid, like, you have a daughter that's in your life that is, aggressively growing up. That's aggressively growing up. And then also, you're running, own business, and being in ministry, and all the things that it's, that is a part of Joe's life. Bro, what would you say to yourself, man, or even to the community, or to those that are listening? What would you say, bro? What was the biggest setback that you had in your life?
Oh, the biggest setback to me, probably, bro, I've had a few, man, to be honest. Like, it's been at different stages of my life. And so to me, it was the biggest, and they were all the same. Like, it was like the biggest then and the biggest then. And so for me, like, I remember the first one, and it was when my mom had passed away, bro. And so my mom and I were very close, like, we were very, very close. And so, like, my dad and I, we weren't tight at all, bro. Like, it was the only time I could speak to him is if I had something like a football fact to talk about. Like, Dad, did you see the All Blacks, bro? Something like that, just to spark a conversation. And we weren't very present in each other. We didn't really have that relationship. And so everything that a father needed to be, I got from my mom, bro, to be honest. And my dad and I, like, our relationship has only started to get there the last few years. And so super grateful for that. And but yeah, when my mom had passed away, I told you already about how, being the eldest child, you're told to just be strong. don't show any emotion. And so I did that in front of everyone. And I thought, bro, I'm pretty strong. I can do this, you know? And then, bro, my life just spiraled down the hill big time. Like, bro, I just, I any way to escape, bro, I was there. Like, through just stupid relationships I was getting myself into. And that's not just with like, and that's just with like circles that I was part of as well. Smoking, drinking, drugs, all of that stuff, like just to get myself away from it. And I didn't realize that the thing is, I didn't realize what I was trying to get myself away from. And I was just trying to escape like this major setback of the major setback for me was where I lost myself completely, man. Like, because I wasn't able to show my true feelings in front of anyone, where it killed me when I was by myself. You know what I mean? And so I couldn't be by myself. It was scary. Like, it was a scary thought. And so I knew, like, bro, it got to the point where I was so close, man. Like, I was so close to just finishing it, bro. And my siblings and some people know this story is, bro, I actually had gotten, like, I didn't know how to do it, bro, to be honest. Like, you were so scared. When you think about that, you're just so scared, but you just, in your head, you just want to do it, man. And so I grabbed the biggest knife that I could, man. I grabbed the biggest knife that I could and walked to the back of the house. And in my head, I was just like, all I'm going to do is just fall forward, straight into the heart. That's it. Just as I was about to do it, I hear my little brother's voice. So to give you some context, my mum had passed away from complications of childbirth to my brother, my younger brother at the time, Jaira. And so she never, he never really got to see her. And like, she passed away like 4 months later. She was in a coma and all that stuff. So just before I was about to do it, I heard his voice, right? Like, I just heard him laughing or something. And then it just changed, bro. Honestly, it's just like there was total darkness, and then boom. It's like I just came back to earth, kind of thing. And bro, I just dropped the knife. It's bawling my eyes out, but no one had seen that. No one knew where I was at the time. And bro, I just, at that moment, I just turned to God, and I was just praying, because bro, it's funny because one thing about me, I've always been, for some reason, and I embrace this now, I've always been like the overlooked one. All right, I've always been. That's just something that I didn't realize when I was younger, and then I started to realize as I got a bit older. Always overlooked. I was never first choice for anyone, right? And in anything. And so, and I don't say that to be like no one loves me kind of thing, but I was just never the first choice,
Mm-hmm.
And so I say that because, bro, some of my mates, they wouldn't call me unless I had money to go out on the weekends with them, or they wanted to get something out of me, which is like, bro, I used to entertain everyone, like, just be the jokester or whatever. But apart from that, like, if they couldn't benefit from me, then I won't hear from anyone from Monday to Thursday at least. Like the weekends, yeah, I'll force my way into there. And so, bro, I was just so lonely, bro. Like, for someone that never wanted to be by themselves, I was just so lonely. And so that had happened, and I remember just praying and just telling God, I just never really had a girlfriend. At that time, I never really had a girlfriend, like a proper relationship. And I just prayed. I was just like, I need a companion. I need someone. I'm 20 years old at that time, and I'm just like, I need someone. And in my head, I'm thinking someone that I could go to dinner with. So I'd go to a house, watch a movie, chill. Nothing too serious or anything, but just someone like that. And then fast forward the end of the year, bro, I ended up meeting like my now wife. And bro, at first I didn't look at her. There was nothing there. She'd never had a boyfriend before as well, and so I'm her first. And so for me, it was just like, for her, she had been praying on it as well, and she got a message at a youth service, and the preacher was talking about, for the kids, for the youth dating or anything, stay in your father's house. Pretty much talking about, within the church, stay in your father's house, bro. The funniest thing is that, like, my dad and I had a fallout, and I ended up at their house. I was new to their church, and I ended up staying with them. Their parents let me in. And we just began talking, and then she's the first girl I ever asked out. Like, I ever said, "Would you be my girlfriend?" And then that's it. Like, now that's led to us being married. The craziest thing is that she stayed in her father's house, literally. I came to her dad's house and lived there, and she stayed in her father's house, and then boyfriend came. But then the other crazy thing is that I feel God answered my prayers, but bro, it was nothing. It was nowhere near the way I thought it would be. Like, we weren't allowed to do anything, bro. We were like stuck in the living room, like it was strict, like Tongan Samoan tradition, like just strict rules, right? And so that was my setback, and then that happened, right? And so for me, it was like, it was massive, because it was like I was at a young age where, bro, I had so much going for me, man, and like I didn't have anyone to kind of guide me or anyone to kind of show me the ropes, and that's why I don't rely too much on people anymore. Like now, it's just I rely heavily on God, bro, and I just rely on the Spirit to just lead the way for me, because that was a Holy Spirit moment, bro. Like you go from not hearing anything to just hearing my little brother at that moment, like at that second, bro. And so to me, it was like that was the biggest setback, because I'd never been someone to think that I'd ever get to that point, bro. So I didn't think I'd ever allow myself to do that, but I did, man. And so it's funny, because I didn't really feel like there was a massive problem. But like you said, it was just those little things, man. It was like those little moments of me trying to escape, little things of my mates not calling me back or not doing. And I told one of my mates this story this year. I told him what had happened that year, and he was so devastated, because he was just like, bro, why didn't you tell me? I was like, bro, like, what you know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, who do I call? Like, bro, I'm about to commit suicide. Can you? No one does that, man. Like, and so for me, it was like, it was that moment, bro. It was that moment that I realized that, there's so much more. And bro, my siblings will tell you, man, at that time, they'd rarely see me on the weekends. I was always out, always drinking, always getting wasted. And I'll come back on a Sunday. I'll leave Friday, come back on a Sunday, or even a Monday after work. And then after that, bro, like I was present. I was always home with them, And the last 9-10 years, I've really built a strong relationship with my family because of that. Super grateful for it. My little brother doesn't know that that's what happened, He's a little brat now. He's like 11 years old. He's such a brat, bro. But eventually I'll tell him, bro, that you literally saved my life, So to me, it's like, I think that's the biggest setback. Like to me, like I've had other ones as well, but that's the biggest, because, bro, I would not be here. I should not be here. Yeah. And the thing is, it's just by the grace of God that I am here. Like, that's why I understand when people go through something like that. It's like I have that empathy, because it's like if you don't have someone there at that time, or if you don't hear it, or if you don't see it, at that split second, bro, it was a split second for me. I was just like, man, like it shouldn't, like, that's why I'm super grateful, because I'm like, I should not be here right now, but I live to tell that story. And bro, it's crazy, because it's like, who would have thought, man? Like, who would have thought this is how it'll all turn up? And I've struggled since then. I've struggled. I've still struggled. Like it's not one of those that was my setback, and then life was perfect after that. Everyone became happy. It was everyone lived happily. Nah, things were still hard. Things were definitely still hard. But the thing was, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, after that happened, that was my moment of, okay, now I put my hand up. That do you want to go to that promised land? Yeah, I put my hand up now. And so, bro, as a person from that moment, I'm so like I need to be proud of myself for a bit, because I'm like, bro, I've grown so much as a person. Like a lot of people will say it to me, and people will be like, nah. Do those subtle humility, like that. Nah, all good. Nah, God. You do those. Nah, all God.
Nah, all God, bro. All you, like.
All you. Nah, all God. Glory to God. Yeah. And so it's like, and now it's I've learned to really embrace it, because God has just used me to become the person that I am today, and I'm so proud, because it's like of where where I've been able to come from. But also at the same time, I couldn't have done it without God. You know, like, and that's why no one can shake my faith. No one can, none of that, bro, because no one can tell me anything. No one can tell me otherwise because, bro, I've experienced it. I've had an encounter, and I've had a transformation through that. And now, bro, I'm starting to realize more and more and more about myself, bro. And it's an amazing thing, bro. So that was my biggest setback, bro. Like, that was my biggest one.
Yeah, man, bro. First off, bro, like, bro, massive kudos to you, man, for like even like sharing it. And I don't say that lightly, bro. Just because like, yeah, this is a like a really like this is a topic that isn't really mentioned about. It's very very hard for people to listen to this and hear it out, but like it needs to be heard, But I'll never forget, bro. DJ Waves, our boy DJ Waves. Nah, shout out to Jeremiah, bro. I love that dude, bro. But I'll never forget, man. Bro, I'll never forget that conversation that we had, right? When we were having a feed, bro, and like he mentioned, man, it's like, bro, we shouldn't like it should become like a normal thing. Right, this conversation, of mental health should be a normal thing, a normal conversation to have, but we shouldn't lose the sensitivity behind it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, don't lose the sensitivity, but normalize it. I'm like, bro, light bulb moment, bro. And I still say it to this day, bro. I told everyone, I'm like, bro, we should be making this a normal thing to talk about, but then just make sure that we don't lose the sensitivity, because that's the thing that will drive us out, in terms of freedom or like breaking through. And so, talking about breaking through, knowing that you went through that setback, bro, what was the setup? What was the setup for you, bro? What was the real, we have the fruit and the root kind of thing. But like, bro, let's talk about the root here, bro. What was the real root behind, you? Because like, I know that you mentioned about your younger brother, that could possibly be the fruit behind it. Or the fact that, just hearing his voice and being like, wait, what am I doing? But to you, man, like, were you able to find the real root behind it as to why, like you're now at that you're able to, break out of it?
Bro, it all relates and all ties back into my mom, bro, because like the thing is, she passed away because of giving birth to this young kid who saved my life. And it's like, when I thought about him and how grateful I was for him at the time, and also the fact that like before she passed away, like I was the one that said to name him Jireh, like Jehovah Jireh, the provider. And so for me, it was like, bro, like he just provided a way out for me, right? And so for me, it was just going back to my mom, man. Like, just if you understand like the character, the type of person she was, and like the stuff that she had to go through. Oh, bro, I seen it too. But the thing is, being the eldest, and like, you just get to a point where, because a lot gets put on you, it's like, bro, you don't want to deal with it, so you brush it to the side, and you just stress because it just seems like so much, And so, to me, I never really, I kind of pushed away the way she felt. I pushed away the feelings that she went through so much, bro. Like, and to me, it was almost like she went through that much, and I cannot compare what I'm going through with what she went through, right? And so, for me, the setup was just to be someone like her, just to be half the person that she was, bro. Just to kind of carry on her legacy, and then. Bro, a lot of people that I met later on that knew my mom, they'd always do those. Oh, if only your mom was still alive, if she saw you now, they just kept doing that. And so to me, it was kind of like, just trying to be the same just to kind of live this. Not what's the word? Like, carry on her legacy. Yeah, that's pretty much it, bro. It was just trying to be half the person that she was, man. The traits that she had, just everything that people loved about her, bro. I was just like, she was definitely someone I really looked up to. I seen firsthand the pain that she going through, and I seen, but I didn't want to acknowledge it because I just didn't want to deal with the drama, right? And it was like so selfish of me. And then when we finally lost, well, not finally, but when we actually lost her, it was like, bro, like we took her for granted, you know. And so to me, it's like now I can't be someone that takes my family for granted. But then yeah, it's just also it was just my mom. Like that was the biggest thing, and for the last few years. And then having a daughter, that was like we named her after my mom. And then, bro, that's just changed. That's just changed the whole ball game, man. That's just like now it's like you don't just. It's not just being a good son. It's not just being a good husband, a good brother, but now I've to learn how to be a good father. Like a good father. And so it's like, yeah, and she's changed everything, man. And it's like, and one thing my mom used to say is that you'll know one day when you have kids. And yeah, now I'm starting to know exactly what she's talking about, man. And so that has been the setup, man. Like I think my mom was like um kind of the period that we went through grieving the loss of my mom was a setup for now celebrating the gaining of my daughter. You know what I mean? And so yeah, my mom was part of my why. Lost that, we kind of lost her in human form, if you like, in the physical form, but gained her within my daughter. So it's like, yeah, she's been the setup for something that's going to be big, man. And so now I see like the vision that I had before, and the calling that was on my life is so much clearer nowadays because all I have to do is look across the room and I see these two human beings that now that I feel like I'm responsible for, and I need to bring that greatness out for them, like, and it's not just monetary. It's just I need to lead the way with how I make this impact for my family and for them as well. So yeah, bro. Yeah, I think that's pretty much that's a nutshell thing. Or
Yeah, bro. Nah, it's amazing, bro. Like, bro, it's so simple. You know what I mean? Like, as in, it's a simple answer. It's your mum.
yeah,
It's like I feel like a lot of people they oversimplify it, or they create like some sort of complex theory as to A, B, and C. They create some formula like Pythagoras theorem or something like that, right? But like if you think about it, like find out, okay, what was the real root? And it was your mom. And that was actually in my head. In my head, I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, it was the mom. Like, it was the mom. In this story, it was the mom because of her loss, right? Because of her loss, it was the catalyst. The catalyst was your little brother. But then, like, how did the little brother come into existence? And it was like your mom, and it's like, bro, makes sense. It makes total sense. But bro, what a testimony, man. Bro, what a story, bro. And like that, I swear, bro. Like thinking about it now, I'm like, bro, that's the reason why I had to get you on here, bro. It makes so much sense, bro. I was always like thinking to myself, bro, I don't know what it is, man, but we'll soon find out. Now it makes sense, bro. It makes so much sense.
So much to it, man. And I haven't really shared with a lot of people, man. Only those that's really, really close. Because bro, now people see. It's funny because now people see. Like I've had the opportunity to speak in front of a lot of people, lead worship, preach, just things like even like just talk in front of people. And a lot of people, the stage gifts when it comes to ministry, and people are like drawn to that, and they're like, oh, I want to do what you do. Like, how do you do it, man? Like, and people just don't, and yeah, it's just, people don't realize that there's so much to it, man. Like,
yeah,
there's so much more to it. And it's like, if I really told you how I got here, would you? I don't know if you'd want to be doing it anymore. Like, yeah, the road I took to get here was a mission. And it was a mission, and so it's something that I'm very grateful for, bro. So yeah, man, like there's so much to it, man. There's so much more to it. Like when I lost my mom, I kind of lost that person that was kind of guiding me, but I was blessed to have other people as well, like like JT, like that we talk about, I was blessed to have him. But also, man, there was people in my life that were there for like seasons, seasons that I learned a lot from. But then there was some that were there for a while that I learned a lot from, but indirectly, And so for me, it was like everyone contributed to this growth process. But yeah, another thing is that, man, like I've just been heavily reliant on God, and like a lot of this stuff, bro, a lot of the stuff that comes to me, like, or a lot of the things that I say, I've not read that. I've not read about it. I've not, bro. So I'm just like, this didn't come from this brain, like, like, and not to dumb myself down, but it's like, it couldn't have, And so that's why I'm just like, man, I give credit, honor, back to the source, like the greatest teacher. And so, yeah, without him, I would not be here, and I would not be the person that I am today, So, yeah, I'm thankful, very thankful for it.
Yeah, man. Honestly, bro, always got to give thanks, Always got to be grateful, It's the biggest game changer, man. But it's just you wake up in the morning, and instead of you focusing on the negative things, being like, bro, what are you grateful for? Bro, family, life. Bro, it literally like shifts your perspective, man. Especially when you're waking up in the early hours of the morning. If you know, you know.
Yeah. The 5 a.m. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Stuff like that as well, man. Like, I'll find myself nowadays 5 a.m. in the gym, like training, and I'm like, who the F is that guy, bro? Like, bro, like, Jezza, what are you doing? Like, but then it's just like, bro, I just love it because it's like, yeah, like it's, we do it to our phones all the time. We upgrade our phones, but when it comes to our mind, our body, our soul, our spirit, bro, it's like we're content with just being in here, when we're called to be much greater. So, yeah, bro, like finally getting in tune with all of that, physically, spiritually, mentally. Bro, I love it, man. I get it. I get what you mean now, man. Like, yeah, shout out to the 5 a.m. club again because of that.
Bro, I always say this, man, and like, bro, I'm only saying it based on experience, bro. Like, once you get it, bro, you never want to turn back. Bro, once you get it, you'll never turn back. Bro, just like when your mom told you, like, bro, once you have kids, like, then you'll start to realize, bro, like, you're already starting to understand that. And, bro, it's just, yeah, man, grateful, bro. I'm fully grateful, man. Like, just grateful, bro. I don't know. I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good.
I'm grateful. We're grateful, man.
Yeah, we're grateful, bro.
Grateful, man.
Oh, bro. But hey, man, bro, thank you so much, man, for sharing your story. But I've been impacted by it. But what I want to do now, man, is ask you, bro, what is a lesson? What is a lesson that you had learned through that experience that you went through?
I hope there's many. There are many. I'm just trying to think of the. Yeah, one of the things I've learned, bro, is and this is like, I've heard this said a lot of times, in terms of encouraging people, and when people are going through something and they're going through the storm, and everyone talks about the storm, or the battle, And one thing I've heard is like when someone's going through something, man, and like a way for them to help out. These are two things I've learned, by the way.
Yep.
Where people tell them the toughest battles go to the toughest soldiers. You've heard that before, right? Or something along the lines of that. The toughest battles go to the toughest soldiers. To me, like I put myself in the shoes. Like I've never been in a position where someone's told me that, but I've heard it said a lot. And I put myself in that position. I'm just like, bro, if I heard that, bro, I'd hate that, bro. That's like if you're in someone, you break your leg and someone's like, bro, it could have been your arm, bro. It's not lucky it wasn't your arm. It's like, how does that help? Like the toughest battles go to the toughest soldiers. You're just like, I can't be tough right now. To me, now it's just like, bro, in order to get rid of the unnecessary thing, you have to do the necessary thing, which is, bro, sometimes crap, right? Which is the other word, but sometimes to get out of the crap, you got to do the crap thing, and you might feel crap about it, but you have to do it, right? And it's like no one loved training in the beginning. When you like me when I first got back into it, I was just like, oh, I sweat, Getting back into sweating, I'm like, damn. Now, bro, I love a good sweat. It's like I had to get over that hurdle. It's in order to really get to where I needed to get to. And then that's one big lesson. And the other one, bro, is if you don't find this, if you find yourself ever imprisoned, because, bro, you don't have to be in jail to feel imprisoned, right? Like you can really feel imprisoned mentally. There's two ways out. There's either escaping or there's being freedom, like being released. And so the thing with escaping is that you can run away from it. You can do something that gets you away for a bit, but when you get caught up again, you come back straight to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference with being released is once you're set free, you don't have to come back. And I say you don't have. I don't say you won't come back. I say you don't have to come back, because that's up to you whether you come back or not. And so those are two things that are really, really that I feel very valuable for a lot of people, man, because a lot of us have turned to different forms of escape, trying to escape, but we don't look at how to be released. And this ties into your new podcast, bro. People are searching for escape rather than freedom, bro. And it's sad because escape is a lot easier than freedom, but freedom is a lot freer, is a lot more rewarding, right? And so that's it, man. Like what I've said before, the easy thing will be hard to do. The easy thing will be hard to live with, but the hard thing to do will be eventually easy to live with, bro. So we got to go through that pain. We got to go through those times in order to come out better, And so, that's it. All in all, we started this call. Bro, this part wasn't recorded, but all in all, this ties into JT saying, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. That's it. That's the big lesson, bro. Just do it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, man, appreciate it, man. And I guess, just like the reason why, it was in my head, I'm like, bro, there's so many lessons you can learn from this, but it's good to hear from you, from the person that actually went through the experience, to share about, this is a lesson that I learned, and this is something I'm going to continue on, bro, which is totally amazing, bro. But, bro, what I want to do right now, man, just as we start to slowly wrap up this podcast, bro, I know we can talk for ages. We already do.
Bro, so a little of the insides, like we organize calls to talk about something else, and we end up talking about something else. Yeah. And then the thing that we're supposed to talk about, we talk about the last minute before we wrap up the call. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like 2 minutes, bro. And the whole 2 hours, bro, we're talking about life, which is amazing, bro. Which is amazing, man.
Other way, bro. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Legit, man. But yeah, man, bro, I guess what I want to do right now is I wanted to ask, bro, like, so we spoke about your story, man. We got you to share, like your biggest setback and then your set up. Now the question I want to ask you now, bro, is, bro, where's Jerry going from here? What's Jerry doing right now? Moving forward.
Bro, 2021, bro, it's started already. But 2021, this is a whole nother time we can talk about this, but IMHMN, for those that know about it, if they don't, we could drop a link in there to follow it, but IMHMN is coming out big, man. Like, we coming out of our own podcast as well, the Next Door podcast. We've also got, bro, we're moving into, and I'm collabing with some people in terms of sports mentorship and management, and just kind of walking our guys, especially our, within our culture and our community, and teaching them things from just mentorship and things from how to carry yourself on and off the field to financial literacy. All those things tied in one that could really help our guys out, and and none of this is for monetary gain. This is all, they keep 100% of their will be funded elsewhere. You know, we'll be funded with what we got going on, right? And so this is just a means of just being there for our people, you know, being able to impact people, you know, and showing them that, bro, I don't need anything from you. All I need from you is just to be you, you know, and showing people that, like, trying to push people to be themselves. There's that. Also, the music side of things, like a music, say in the same way, a music label, you know, where just to give some people the direction, like just to utilize their gift and their passions that they have, give them some direction and guidance within that. But apart from that, bro, it's the next thing for me is just this personal branding thing that you know you're big on as well, and it's just getting it's not really catching up, but it's finally getting myself out there to really do what I was called to do. Yeah. And that's really to make that impact. And I mean, what I'm big on, you know, is helping the neighbor, service to many. And it's like, you can't serve people just from staying at home. You know, you can't just, you have to really get out there. And sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable, bro. Sometimes it's going to be something that, you know, in places where you don't want to go. But if your heart is really to serve, and even, you know, it could be like everyone could be here, and, you know, we have the heart for the one. The one could be somewhere, you know, in the jungle. We have to go there. You know, we have to go and make sure we serve everyone. So for me, it's driving that and impacting people. And yeah, because I feel, bro, one thing, and I'll just tell a story very quickly. You know, back in 2015 at a conference, there was a prophecy on my life, and it was funny because it was the guys that were prophesying were supposed to just speak to the pastors only, pointed me out in the crowd and said, "You stand up." And then I was like, he goes, "Where are you from?" I said, Australia. He goes, "No, you're supposed to be here in New Zealand." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Sit down." And then anyways, he went back to preach it. He went back to prophesying over the pastors. And it was just the pastors that he was prophesying over within our branch, like within our umbrella. He was just like, pastor and wife come, you know. And then after he prophesied for the next pastor, he told me to stand up again. He goes, "Get up again. I'm not finished." He's like, you've got to come back here and impact. They need you here in New Zealand. And he just kept going on, and he's just like, he was talking about, you know, this, but you need to realize that you need the dust. You need to realize that there's something in you first. And like he just went on, and man, like some of the pastors were like, bro, they started treating me like a pastor there, right? After that, I was one of the young guys. I was just like, I tried to stand back as much as I could, but then they started treating me like pastor, you know, gave me to sit with the pastors and stuff. And I was just like, man, this is crazy. And anyway, in my head, like I was just like, because I was heavily involved in ministry, I thought, how do I come back to New Zealand? The only thing I saw that was wrong in New Zealand at the time was the suicide that was going on there, right? The suicide rate. And I thought, what could I do differently as a pastor? Because they've got pastors there that I look up to as well. Like, what could I add that's different? They've grown up there. Right. And so for many years, I've pondered on that. It's always been in my heart to think, like, what does this prophecy mean? I finally get it, bro. I finally understand it. And it took me stepping out of, I'm still heavily involved in the ministry, but I stepped away from ministry, the title. Like, I stepped away from the leadership title, the leadership principle. Like, the leader doesn't go away from me, but that's just the title. I just didn't want that. And stepping away actually got me to realize, bro, I was so focused on how I could impact in the ministry. Right. The guy didn't say the ministry in New Zealand needed you. He said New Zealand needed you. And so for me, it's like, now I can make an impact, but it starts in my community first. But now I understand the impact and the level of the impact I could really make. And it's not just one-sided ministry. It's like everything, right? And it starts from within. It starts from me impacting others to be themselves, serving others as well. And so, yeah, letting people know that, you know, I'm a chairman. In order to get to chairman, you know, in order to get to the higher place, we serve at the lowly place, right? And so, yeah, bro, that's me in 2021. That's the next move, is all of this coming into fruition. You know, like the trailer's already been played. The movie's about to be made, right? So it's like, yeah, man. So it's exciting times for me. It's exciting times for me, and definitely getting to collab with you and you know, rubbing shoulders with you for next year, bro. you're definitely within that. You're in the scrum as well, right? You're in the scrum with us. Like that's us all the way, bro. Not the league scrums where you just stand there. The union scrum. Yeah, the union one.
where
Like
you
we're
where you actually
pushing,
have to
bro.
push.
Yeah. We actually have to push. And that's us, bro. Like we're in that, man. So big year for us, bro. Big year.
Yeah,
Big
come on,
things
bro.
ahead. And
Nah,
like we started.
I'm
We
excited, bro.
started already.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah. All right. We're just a preview, man. Just a little preview. We're just getting a glimpse of it. Like people are starting to recognize you as well on TikTok now. And it's like, well, they're thinking like, bro, this is a new thing that you're doing. It's like, no, man, like this is you're just seeing it now. Do you know what I mean? And that's a crazy thing. People are just starting to see it now, and it's like, if that's the case now, imagine later, bro. It's like it's scary, but it's like a good scary. It's like, bro, exciting. Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. No, you're on point in that one, bro. Like everyone just looks and says, "Oh, yeah, bro, they got overnight success." Nah, man. It took a while, bro. It took a while. It took a while, man. But bro, my last question is this, man. My last question is for you is this, bro. Where do you see yourself, man, in the future? Where do you see Jerry? Where do you see Jerry in the future?
Bora Bora. Bro. Bro, I just honestly, I just see myself. I'm not nothing too crazy, bro. I see myself just joyful with my family. I just see myself happy with my family and my family happy, like, and people around me, and I just see myself like in the future, like kind of what's it called? Glad. I see myself glad. Glad's like a nice word. I see myself glad that got into where I needed to get to. Like I yeah, if it's I mean not if it when it all works out, when it all comes into play, like yeah, in the future I just see myself um as a person, honestly, that if not, like I think Tupac said this as well. If I'm not the person that changes it, at least the spark that leads to the something like that, right? Like the person that leads to the person that changes it, sort of thing. It's the same sort of thing, man. Like if I want to look back and be like I've impacted someone, I've helped someone, and so yeah, like you would never know sometimes because like yeah, sometimes people won't come up to you and tell you, but I just hope that it's I do something that's able to lead someone to a better place, or I'm able to save someone's life through my testimony or something like that, and that'll make me glad, right? Glad and joyful, and yeah, just happy, man, and just with my family around me as well, bro. So yeah, I can never, I don't look too far away from that, bro. Like to me, it's just like step by step, like that's where I see myself. I see myself as like yeah, I see myself in doing greater things on a greater scale, but I love just thinking and enjoying the ride there, like the scenery on the way. Yeah, so that's it, man.
Yeah, bro. No, I'm excited, bro. I'm fully excited where you're gonna be heading. Obviously, I'm gonna be a part of it too, which is amazing. Just being locking each other's arms and doing the like journey together. Because yeah, bro. As I believe, man, bro, life is better together. Life's better doing it together. That's the reason why we have the 5 AM club. Doing it all together. But also, if IMHMN, like doing it together, like you're not doing it alone. And so. Yeah, bro. I guess, bro, this is the last thing I want to ask you, man, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Is, bro, knowing that, bro, you shared, bro. All I can say, man, is that this is such a good podcast, bro,
Yeah,
and I'm glad that I have it, bro. I'm glad that I have it, bro. But bro, my last question to you, man, is, bro, what's an encouragement that you can share to those out there that are listening? The ones that are probably like listening to your story, being like, man, I love this guy. Like, is there any like kind of last minute gems that you can share? Before we wrap up?
So, man, what's funny is when you get when you have to think, it's harder than just talking and just letting it come to you. But I feel like the one thing would just be enjoy the process, man. Like really understand that where you are right now, and I'll go back to position, destination, and direction. Remember those three things. Remember position, because you acknowledge where you are right now. Destination, you understand where you want to get to, and then you know the direction from there. Because you and I right now, Josh, right now you're in Smithfield. I'm in Regent's Park, and I say, meet me at Parramatta. Our destination's the same, but we've got to acknowledge where we are positioned right now. Then we'll know our direction. Because our direction then will be different, right? But because our position is different, we're going in a different route. And that's it. And when you understand that everyone has a different route, but then everyone could have the same destination, that's when you'll really be able to move into what you're called to do. Because sometimes it's like, all right, this guy's got a shorter way to, this guy knows a shorter way, but it's like, bro, that guy's closer to the destination. Like you're trying to get to Para, you're in Mount Druitt, bro. This guy's in what, Westmead. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't make sense, bro. And so when you learn to understand and embrace and acknowledge where you are and where you want to get to, that's how you know how to get there. And so if not, then you will just follow anyone and you'll go down any direction, and you will follow any trend, and you'll follow what the next person does, and you jump in when someone else jumps in. You know what I mean? And it's like you'll never ever find fulfillment, or you'll never ever pursue your purpose doing that. So that's my biggest encouragement. Know where you are, know where you want to go to, and then you'll know how to get there. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, sweet. So position, destination, and direction.
Destination,
I love that.
Direction. Yeah, bro.
I love that. I love that.
TikTok, no,
No, I should teach Timmy. Anyways.
Maybe he doesn't watch all the way to the
end. But hey, bro, man, all I want to say, bro, is thank you, man. Thank you so much for taking out your time, to jump on, bro. As we wrap up this podcast, bro, bro, I'm so grateful, man, that I got you on here, to share your story. And, bro, I already know that people are getting impacted right here, right now. And so I guess, before we, close up, if there are people out there that are wanting to connect or know more about you, bro, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Insta, bro, like JB Fanene, like you just see my name there, JB Fanene, and at im.h.mn, put that up there. But yeah, just for Instagram, man, I guess it wouldn't be hard to find me. You just see my big face on Instagram, or just looking stupid on some of the reels. But yeah, trying to share as much value and content as we can and get ourselves out there, bro. So, and that's because of Joshy, that's your big reason behind all of that. So yeah, Josh, thanks, man. Thank you a lot.
Nah, all good, bro. All good, my man. And so for those out there that are tuning into this either through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page where he'll be featured on there. But if you guys are watching this video through YouTube, make sure you guys check down in the links down below, and his handles will be there, and also his links to his social media page if you guys are wanting to connect with Jerry. But other than that, guys, that is all that we got. Thanks, bro, for jumping on.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man. Honored, truly honored. Podcast debut, and hopefully didn't bore everyone and tuned out too early. But man, grateful for you, bro. Grateful for you.
Yeah, sweet, bro. No, grateful for you too, bro. But yeah, guys, that's all we got. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.